Hello guys, my name's Frank and welcome to our installation tutorial. And today I'm going to teach you how to install CollectionsMax. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is go to collectionsmax.com and click on downloads. And you're going to want to download a few things. You're going to want to download the deck collection software suite. I have Firefox just so you know because things are different in different browsers. And then you're going to download in utilities, we're going to download MariaDB. Now there's a 32-bit and a 64-bit. Most computers nowadays are 64-bit. If you're not sure, download the 32-bit. I know my computer's a 64-bit, so I'm going to download that as well. Okay. And in Firefox, you come up here to this arrow, and you're going to click where it says show all downloads and open containing folder, and I'm going to take these two, copy them and place them on my desktop. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to install the database. That's the MariaDB, so you're going to double click on that. Click next, and then click next, and then here, this is very, very important. This is your root password. This is the master password of the database. Now, I like to enable access from remote machines for root, so I put a check mark here. This is so that it doesn't matter what computer you're on, you'll be able to access root. If you want to lock it down more so only you can access root from the server, you can leave that unchecked. Okay, so here I'm going to put in my root password. This is something that you make up and something that I remember that you need to remember, because we're going to need this for other steps. So once you put that in, you're going to click next. You can keep these all default if you want. Next, and then install. And it usually takes 30 seconds to a minute or so to install for you. There we go. Now we recommend MariaDB 5.5, and one of the reasons is that there's less configuration compared to other versions. Okay, so we're going to configure this so that we can use CollectionsMax. So we're going to go in our start menu and we're going to find where it says MariaDB 5.5. Expand it, and then we're going to hit where it says my.ini. Okay, this is a configuration file. Now, this is actually very simple. You're going to see where it says SQL mode, and then it has double quotes, strict trans tables, no engine substitution. You're just going to highlight that and hit delete on your keyboard and leave the double quotes. So you get a set of quotes here and a set of quotes there. And then underneath that, you're going to type in skip, and then a dash, name, and then dash, and then resolve. And nothing after that. Okay, so it's skip, a dash, a name, a dash, resolve, all together, no spaces before or in the middle, because if you don't put this exactly as this, it won't be able to start up in the next step. So after you have it like this, you're going to hit File, Save. Okay, and then close it out. And then in your search menu, you're going to type in services. And you're going to start the services app. And all you're going to do with the Services app is you're going to scroll down and you're going to find MySQL. You're going to left click on it and then right click on it and then left click where it says stop. You'll see this. And then you're going to right click on it and left click where it says start. Okay, so it started. Now, if it showed any type of error at this point, or it says it couldn't start, or it says something's wrong, you have to go back and redo the configuration file setting because you had something wrong. Okay, I'm going to tell you right here, this is 99% of why people cannot install the software, because they didn't configure MariaDB correctly. Okay, now that you have that, we're going to install the Collections Max program. So you're going to double click on the setup for the Collections Max and click here to where it says click to install. Click yes I do. And what this is going to do is it's going to install all the programs in a Collections Max folder. So we can get rid of this, and we can actually get rid of this, and this is the folder that has your Collections Max programs in. So we're going to install all of them. So we're going to double click the folder. Now, the administrator has some extra things that you have to install. It's one thing. It's a component. Possibly if you have an older version of Windows, you might not have the .NET framework, so you might have to install that. I'm going to show you how to do the administrator. The other ones are really simple. So you double click on the administrator, click to install, and then yes I do, and then it's going to say this. The application requires this component to be installed first, and then you can proceed. Click on the link, and it's going to open up your web browser, and you're going to click Save File. And then, like for Firefox, because it's my default, I have to go up here and I have to physically run it. So we have to run this file, and it might go behind the menu or something like that, and you click on I have read and accept these license terms. Click install. Okay, installation complete. Now once installation is complete, you can click the proceed button to finish the installation. And that's really the only thing that requires an additional component. The other ones are pretty simple. If you double click on the collector, click to install. Yes I do. And then you have the database installation wizard. And then you have the scheduler. Okay, so all four of them should be installed at this point. Okay, now for collections, this particular folder we can get rid of because we have everything we need. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to find the database installation wizard, which is this hat that has magic on it. Okay, and we're going to click next. Now, since we're installing on this machine, we're going to keep that at yes. And this is the root password. Remember the password I told you need to remember? This is why, because we need this in here. So we're going to put that in. Click next. And then here is where we're going to set up a manager and a collector for now. Okay, so I'm going to have his full name would be Marty Manager, and his username is going to be Manager. You can make up anything you want here, and maybe something like CMAX123. And then we have for the collector, we can have bill collector. B collector, B dot collector. And then CMAX 321. I'm going to make sure I write that down. Okay, so as long as everything's connected to the internet, you can click install, because this is going to download our routing number database. Okay, and what you're going to do is we're just going to wait a minute or two for the installation wizard, the database installation wizard, to do its magic. It's going to install all the tables, the routing numbers, configure the users, and basically do everything for you so you don't have to do it manually. Now, if you have a SSD drive, which I don't on this particular computer, so it's going to be a little on the slow side, but if you have an SSD drive for Collections Max for your operating system, that's going to give you the fastest speed when it comes to access, and especially if you have 5 or more collectors, concurrent collectors. You're going to want something that has high IOPS, they call it, operations per second, so that nothing slows down. With Collections Max or any type of SQL database, your slowest link is always going to be, usually is your disk. So your system is only going to go as fast as your slowest link. So if your disk is very fast, you shouldn't have any problems, because memory is already very fast and processors are extremely fast nowadays. So if you want the best speed, you're going to want to get an SSD drive for this. And SSD drives have come down way in price from before, so there shouldn't be a problem. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward this video and speed it up a little bit, and I'll come back to you when this is almost complete. Alright guys, so the database wizard is just about finishing up. It's creating its users. And we're just about there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're actually going to log in. Okay, so we're going to open up Collections Max Administrator. You don't want to do the collector yet, you want to do the administrator. Okay. So we use, let me go back, actually I should have gone back to explain it to you. I'll show you in a minute. We're going to do Frank. I'm going to put in a password. This is a high level password. Okay. So this is actually what I did. Like I said, I'm sorry for this. So when I go to log in, you're going to want localhost, LOCALHOST, all one word. And the username we're going to use is root. Root is the master password of the database, and we're going to use that root password that I told you not to forget. Okay, and when we set up the other password, this is what that's for. It's to log in here for the red administrator authorization required password. Okay, so in a way it actually worked out. So we're going to go to utilities and then high level passwords, and this is where you set up your supervisor password. We already have a administrator password. We're going to make the supervisor password the same thing. So we're going to click add, hit supervisor, Frank, and then we're going to put in the password, whatever you want, and they match, so you can tell this is just a hash, but this is, it means it's the same exact password. So we're going to get out of the administrator. Well, actually, we're going to minimize it. Okay, and we're going to configure the scheduler. Now, Collections Max scheduler, this is a new scheduler. It has a management interface, okay, for your settings. So you're going to look for Collections Max scheduler, and then you're going to click on where it says Scheduler Configuration Manager. Okay, and I happen to have this set up from before, but you're going to use localhost as a server. If this is going to be on a different machine, you can use the IP address. The password, you can set up, you can have email settings. These email settings are from your email provider. Just something to keep in mind that Collections Max uses basically port 587, which is TLS. So you're going to want the TLS settings. It doesn't do 465. It was depreciated. These are the scheduler settings. We can delete callbacks greater than, say, 30 days. In other words, if a collector made a callback and he didn't call him back after 30 days, you're probably going to want to delete that in the system. And that's basically because if you have a ton of callbacks that aren't being answered, the callback system will slow down. We're going to mark broken promises. We can get broken promise letters. We can do that afterwards. We're not going to do payment reminder letters yet or calculate interest. You can also enable automatic backups, and we can do this. I'm going to select just any folder here, but with the backups, if you encrypt your backups, which we recommend, that'll set the backups for, completely encrypt them, just to give you a higher level of security. Okay, and finally what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on where it says auto run settings, and you want to enable this, and you're going to want to put something, maybe say, if this computer is always going to be on, you could put it, say something like 4 a.m. If this computer is not going to be always on, you're going to want it when it's on and it's not, when it's not really being used, like at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, to kind of automate all the other stuff. And you're just going to click OK. Okay, settings saved, and then click close. Okay, and the only other thing we have to do is we have to log into Collections Max Collector, and to do that we're going to go back over to where it says collectors and managers. We're going to select our collector, and when you click modify, you're going to see that this is the username and this is the password. Okay, so we're going to use this to log in. So and you have to do capitalization too, so it's capital B dot capital C with the collector and then CMAX321. So let's try that. Okay, we have B collector and then CMAX321. login successful.